Okay, how's it going, everybody? This is Sean. We're back with another episode of the Starstruck Podcast. This go around, I have some very special guests. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys.
What up? What up?
So I got my buddy.
Just not saying anything.
Oh, I thought you were gonna actually introduce yourself, not just say what's up.
Well, I didn't know. This is already terrible.
No, it's perfect.
This is actually perfect.
So I got some friends here with me today to help me do this podcast. I know y'all are here for Nancy Wheelchair, my brother, but he is not available. I think he gets a little fed up of just complaining all the time when we do these podcasts. But it's been over a month since our last episode. I wanted to make an episode for when the PTB dropped for the Tools of Torment chapter, and the full chapter is now out, and it's been out for about a week now, and we've all gotten a bit of a chance to play. Now the cool thing is we're going to have a perspective of a newcomer here. My boy here, Nick, is, well, he's been playing for about a week now. Yeah, very new. So he doesn't have much perspective outside of the last week or so. So it'll be definitely interesting to hear what you got to say.
I agree. It's been quite an experience so far. The game kind of like took me in and just hasn't let me go yet.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how it happened with me too. So mainly what I wanted to talk about today, it might be a little difficult. The newest chapter, the Tools of Torment chapter. Talk about the new survivors and talk about the new killer. The thing is, Lucas, I'm not sure how many skull merchants you faced, but the only one that I played against is the one that we played against together once.
Yeah, unfortunately, that literally was the only one that I went up against, and I think I understand how she works, but obviously without going against her enough, I don't know how to counter her or how it really works.
Yeah, I mean, I know I know statistics and how she works and things like that, but like I only played against her once, and she's a very similar killer to play against compared to the Knight. The Knight is he drops a guard at a loop and you have to run away. Skull Merchant drops a drone at a loop, you got to run away.
That I can agree with. I think Knight is a little. I want to say I can't tell who's stronger because Knight's dude actually follows you while hers has a giant radius. But I want to say she's strong if you can't get out of a chase from her and you get exposed from her drone. And just trying to find people. She's really good, I think, maybe for near end game. Say someone's trying to find the hatch, you can set up maybe 2 drones near like Killer Shack or put them near the gates. That way, if she's trying to find somebody near those 2 areas, she's really good. She's really strong in those areas. I would say she's good for finding people, obviously. But I don't know how her add-ons work, and how disarming the drone works, how basically I don't know how to counter her because don't know how to play her.
And yeah, that's kind of a testament to the to the chapter's failure, is the fact that it's been out for a week and no one has played against her. No one wants to play as her. I haven't even seen really anybody playing the new survivors either. They don't really care about them. I mean, the new perks are pretty cool, the ones that I know of, but people talked about the Night chapter, Forge and Fog being a flop. Forget about this one. You know what I mean? Because absolutely no one wants to touch this one. Yeah, it's. I don't have much enthusiasm on this go around because it's oh, cool thing. It's no, it's kind of not. They made her hot, and that's it. That's all I did.
That's literally the, I believe that's the only thing this killer has going for her. Not that, I mean, when I first started playing in the new chapter, I did see people start playing the survivors, and they
Okay.
seem interesting. Like their perks seem kind of strong. Like background player is really good if you have a flashlight build, or if you just
Mhm.
like have a build to save people. That's really good, and looking at the perks while we're doing this helps. But like teamwork would be really good. I think teamwork is good with healing, since that
Mhm.
like a heal build. Blood Rush, I don't know how that works. I don't own like these people, so I can't really test them. But Blood Rush seems like something I personally wouldn't run. I just don't understand it. I don't find it worth it to put yourself get yourself out of exhaustion to get for a health state. I don't think that's worth it in my opinion, and it's
Mhm.
not really
Mhm.
safe. You need a lot of practice in my opinion to do that in order to get the full use of that perk.
I think the teamwork perk is OP, to be honest with you. I know it's not probably going to be a fan favorite with everybody, but suppressing your scratch marks for up to 180 seconds if you're within 12 meters of the person that you take off the hook, I believe it is. Right?
The
Oh no, when a survivor is healed, you benefit from the following. Suppresses your scratch marks when you're within 12 meters of each other. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm stuck to one of you guys like glue. So
Mhm.
having the ability to have our scratch marks suppressed to get away, especially when we have
Mhm.
people that are taking hits for one another constantly, and you take a hit
Yes.
and you both can get out of there. I feel like that's a really good benefit. Like you guys are out here taking hits for each other. That's like an aspect of the game too that I feel like I'm lacking at the moment. But you guys take hits, and then your ability to just get away from the killer and having no tracks up behind you. I feel like that's a little OP, to be honest, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, the ability to not have any scratch marks is really good. There's one popular perk, Lucky Break. Um, it hides your scratch marks whilst injured. So you have a total of 60 seconds, and when you get injured, your scratch marks are hidden for up to 60 seconds. And the way to regain the ability is by healing someone else. So every second spent healing another person gives you 1 second back on Lucky Break, and
Oh,
that is
really?
such yeah that's a UE perk, and it's such a good perk because killers rely so much on scratch marks that if you have two people that are healing and the killer's coming in and you can just dip, you know, without any scratch marks. They won't be able to hear you because you're not injured. You just healed them. And then you don't show any scratch marks. You could very easily confuse a killer by just going around a corner and like sitting there and then they'll like walk past you or, anything like that. Um,
I
definitely underrated.
Yeah, I find friendly competition, if you put that together with, say, teamwork, maybe wiretap to see if a killer is coming close to you, and another, like, you can make a really good gen progression build, and friendly competition is really good, especially with survive with friends, and you're like, fighting a killer, say with maybe two randoms, or you got a full party against a killer. I think friendly competition definitely helps with gen rushing, especially if you're fighting a very hard killer.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, I have it pulled up right here. So yeah, it increases your repair speed and that of the other survivors who completed their repairs with you by 5% for the next 45, 60, 75 seconds. So if you theoretically ran friendly competition and prove thyself, and we all decided, hey, this is what we're going to go do, and we're just going to go crank gens, and then we all sit on gens together, we do the first gen together, it takes like 45 seconds. Then the next one,
Damn.
we all get like a 5% speed boost on top of the prove thyself. Yeah, that goes crazy. And then that's without even putting like toolboxes, hyper focus, or anything like that into the equation. I definitely think it's a bit of a niche perk, but in that circumstance that you mentioned, Lucas, very, very strong. Very strong. Yeah.
I also find her power of two perk really good, especially since, since people who like going for saves, maybe if you want to combine teamwork power of 2 with the other survivors perk where you get a boost when someone's down and you stay near the person, getting a 5% bonus speed is really good, you know.
That perk, let me find it. That reminds me, DBD. So Blood Pact. I don't remember what it does off the top of my head, but Blood Pact is a very, very similar perk. Let me pull up what it does right now. Okay. When you or the obsession are injured, you both see each other's auras. After healing the obsession or being healed by the obsession, you both gain the haste status effect moving at an increased speed of 5, 6, or 7% until you are no longer within 16 meters of each other. That is Blood Pact. What Power of 2 is, it grants a 5% haste status effect for as long as you stay within 12 meters of one another or one of you loses a health state. So it's basically Blood Pact, except instead of just working on the obsession, it works on everybody.
Which is really good because it doesn't require an obsession to work.
Absolutely. Any perk that involves the obsession for survivors is super, super niche. Like, obsession is a big part of killer gameplay, but it's nothing for survivor gameplay. So,
Speaking of the obsession, so like I've noticed that quite often I'm the obsession in the game, but I'm still having absolutely zero knowledge on what this actually means. Is there a benefit for the killer during this, as one is the obsession? Can their perks work more effectively on this obsession? What is the point of it?
It's up to you, Sean, if you want to answer it, or I can.
Yeah, no, I can go ahead. So, the obsession mechanic designates a random survivor as the killer's obsession. So there's like a 1 in 4 chance. And all that being an obsession does, there are perks that involve making you the obsession, being the obsession, things like that. So if there's no perks on either side that affect the obsession, it doesn't do anything. But let me give you an example. Laurie's perk. So the obsession mechanic was introduced with the Halloween chapter, so the Mike Myers chapter. Decisive Strike is a perk that's used to be really popular. And after using this perk, essentially what it was is, if you got downed and the killer picks you up, you would hit a skill check. And if you pass the skill check, you would immediately wiggle off the killer's shoulder. But by doing that, you would then become the obsession, right?
Yep.
Then there's another perk called For the People, which allows you to essentially transfer your health state to someone else. So like if you were injured and I was healthy and I healed you and I press the button, I get injured, but I instantly heal you, and then I become the obsession. As a killer, having a survivor as your obsession means a few things. There's a very popular perk called Save the Best for Last, which grants you a 5% attack cooldown speed bonus. So after you hit someone and the killer's like wiping their weapon away, that happens 5% faster, up to 40% faster for every hit that you make against a non-obsession. So if you're the obsession and someone has Saved the Best for Last and they hit me, their recovery is 5% faster. They hit me again, it's 10% faster, right? They hit Lucas, 15, 20. So every time they hit someone that isn't the obsession, so every time you hit someone that is not the obsession, they get an attack cooldown, a quicker attack cooldown. Then they lose it if they do hit the obsession. So the obsession mechanic is really just something to add a little bit more depth to the gameplay. If neither side is running any perks that affect the obsession, it does literally nothing. but there are perks involved in having to do with the obsession. Like, I don't know if either you remember the other day when we were playing on Ormond, and I was yelling about how the killer had rancor, and you guys were like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
It's a perk that because I was the obsession. So it's a perk that essentially, when the exit gates are powered, you can instantly kill the obsession as long as you down them. So if I had 0 hooks and it was endgame, and I got downed as the obsession and the killer had rancor, they could mori me, take me out of the game, boom, immediately.
That's crazy. That's a really good
that's
perk.
pretty nuts, to be honest.
Not a lot of people run it, but yeah. So that's what the obsession is. It's a mechanic that adds a little bit more depth to the game. There's a new perk right now, one of the Skull Merchant's perks. It is called Game Afoot, and it's whenever you chase your obsession. Whenever you hit the survivor with the highest cumulative chase time with a basic attack, they become the obsession. While you are chasing your obsession, Game Afoot activates its secondary effect. You get a 5% haste status for up to 10 seconds after damaging a generator or breaking a breakable wall or pallet. So what that does is whoever you've been in chase with for the longest, you hit them, they become the obsession, right? And then when you are chasing the obsession, if you break a wall, break a pallet, or break a generator, you get a 5% haste effect. So it's just a mechanic to add in a little bit of extra nuance to the game. And the only thing that it affects is perks. If someone's running a perk that has to do with the obsession or not. There are perks on the survivor side, on the killer side, that can transfer obsession. And you can do different things like play with your food. If you let your obsession escape chase, you get a small speed boost up to like 10 or 15% faster. I don't exactly remember how it is. I don't think it's that much faster, but I don't remember the perk off the top of my head. So all it does is just make more interplay between survivors and killers, but only if the survivors or killers are running perks that have to do with the obsession. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything.
It low-key just makes the game better, more enjoyable, there's more, I guess lore isn't the word, but like there's more depth to the game. That's pretty great.
I think what they should do, maybe if it's a possibility and if it would make sense, is in the next chapter, whenever they plan on doing it, is make a survivor who gets benefits from being the obsession. You know what I mean? Since some people, there are a lot of perks out now that have to do with the obsession. I would love to see a survivor that can somehow counter or benefit from being an obsession. Not too overpowered, obviously, but like it would be worth running the perk, and it would be an interesting mechanic into going against it. Almost like you don't want them to be the obsession, and like you need to run maybe say Oni's perk, where it swaps the obsession, so it like counters that build. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be kind of interesting.
That is definitely interesting, because there isn't really much right now that you directly benefit besides like Blood Pact or whatever, but yeah, you don't gain any benefits directly from being the obsession. The only thing really you can do is like if you need to be the obsession to use the perk Object of Obsession, which gives you and you can see each other, the survivor and the killer, for a few seconds every 30 seconds. But there's nothing that you like directly benefit from being the obsession. If there's any perk, it's usually like I said, for the people, transfers the obsession from one person to another. But that only is, useful in very niche circumstances. Like if someone had rancor on me, and then say you, Lucas, went and hit me with For the People, and then you get the obsession transferred onto you, and they're still going after me thinking I'm the obsession, even though you took it from me, But there isn't really anything that where you directly benefit from being the obsession, and I definitely think that would be some cool, unique thing to try to explore. Perks that like will benefit from being the obsession, because the killer benefits from people being the obsession, but survivors don't really. So I do like that idea.
I'm just surprised that this killer really isn't popular, you know. I know Knight. I remember that one time we got like 3 in a row.
Oh
So he
God.
seems a lot more popular than other people, but I'm just surprised nobody really likes this killer, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are fed up with like how the current meta is going with like generators, and like just the most effective way to win a match is just like by camping, 3 generators really close to each other. And when the Knight came out, he was a killer that was also really good at just holding 3 gens, and he's like an area denial killer. And then they immediately come out with the next chapter, another killer that specializes in area denial, but is even less powerful than the Knight. Because, I don't know, I think...
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
How people are being like, the Knight is a really great example, because if you have even three gens that are within 40 or 50 meters of each other, I'm pretty sure the outskirt of the Knight's distance is at least 30 meters, that circle side to side. So you have, if he goes right in between 2 generators, he's going to go one side, his bot's going to go the other side. So you've now lost 2 generators, and there's only 3 total. So he knows he has 2 covered, and then he can easily just split to the third one. And I don't know
Exactly.
really. I know that you were saying this new girl has the ability to do like call somebody else out, just like the Knight does. I don't know if it's the drone or what it is, but I feel like another element of the game could be brought in, like giving you 2 ways to win the game, or then bringing another game mode in to keep it fresh. So like, obviously you have your survivor, you play as a survivor, play as a killer, but a new mode where it's not centralized around the gens. I don't know where they could go with it, but I think that would really bring a whole new element and depth to the game, bring more players to the game, retain players that don't play anymore because of that staleness they felt in the gameplay.
I find it interesting that you mentioned that, actually, because a couple of the other podcasts that I listen to have kind of discussed this before, about like splitting game modes and trying to come up with something new or different, even if it's only a little different, like say like a no perks game mode, where neither side can use perks. Or
now, when you say no perks, does this include like your toolboxes and stuff, or does this only include the abilities that you unlock for your characters?
You would still be able to use like your flashlights, medkits, toolboxes, and stuff, just not like any like perks like lie, dead hard, windows of opportunity, etc., etc., etc.
Now we have offerings and we have like toolboxes and flashlights. Do the killers have equal abilities, or do they just have perks?
Yeah. So what the medkits, flashlights, and toolboxes, and keys, maps, those are all items, right? And then you can use add-ons on those items to strengthen them. Like whenever I bring a flashlight, I usually use 2 different add-ons to extend the battery life of the flashlight, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the offerings, of course, more blood points in this category send you to this map, this, that, or the other thing, right?
Yeah.
Killers do have the same thing, except because killers don't have items, they have their power instead. So they don't have an item necessarily, but they do have add-ons that strengthen their powers. And some of them are crazy. Like, for example, Michael Myers' normal ability, he stalks people, and once he gets enough stock, he gets into his tier 3. Everybody on the map is 1 hit, right? But with a certain combination of add-ons, you can hit tier 3, and then you never run out of tier 3. And then while in tier 3, you can instantly kill anyone. I don't mean down. I mean, like, you literally pick them up and like stab them, you mori them. They haven't even been touched, and then boom, they're immediately out of the game.
Got you.
Yeah, that is something very scary to watch out for, because if he gets into tier 3, the game's over.
Now you said tier
essentially.
3 gives the ability to down anyone, even if you haven't been hit. Does this count if you have like Dead Hard or something, or do you just go into like completely weakened state if you have something like Dead Hard where you can get hit 3 times?
So that is okay. That is a play that some people do. Like if they're playing against a killer that can expose you and make you one shot. Some people will like to play injured because they have Dead Hard, and the exposed status effect does not go through Dead Hard. Like if I was exposed and I hit and I used Dead Hard and they swung at me and they hit me, I wouldn't go down. I would just take the endurance hit and go into deep wound.
Got you.
Yeah. So endurance hits, you can still take endurance hits even if you're exposed.
Got you.
Which in the endurance, you gain endurance from Dead Hard. You can gain endurance from Metal Man, Off the Record, Borrowed Time, a few different things. But there's a few different perks that can give you an endurance hit. I don't think Metal Man actually technically is an endurance hit, but yeah, that overrides the exposed status effect.
I see.
Mm-hmm. So with this new killer, when she sets up her drones, if you're in that ring for too long, you become exposed. So if you're like injured, you have zero reason to get out of her range of the drone, because whether she hits you whilst you're exposed or not, you're going to go down either way. But like if you have Dead Hard, it's actually better to stay injured because you have the possibility of using Dead Hard to tank the hit. Because if you're healthy, you'll just immediately go down. You won't have a chance to use Dead Hard or anything.
Okay, this is making sense to me. That's kind of OP if you play it the right way.
Yeah. It's saved me multiple times. Where there's been like a killer, and there's an ability, no one escapes death, which in the end game, it's abbreviated to NOED a lot. So you'll probably hear us talking about like NOED. That's what it means.
Got you.
So when the gates are powered, everyone becomes one shot if you're running this perk. So then if you power the gates and it's like, oh, he's got NOED. It's like, okay, well, I have Dead Hard, so I better stay injured because he's going to come after me and he's going to swing for me, and I'll be able to take that hit with Dead Hard instead of just dying.
Oh, that's so OP.
Yeah, Dead Hard's a really good perk. You just need to be good at using it. It's in fact, like Borrowed Time and Decisive Strike used to be, it is such a good perk, and it's such a common perk that killers will assume that you will always have that perk. So a good killer will usually not just try to immediately swing at you when they get in range if you're injured, because just the fact that Dead Hard is a perk that exists and it is so common, they assume everyone has it. It's like a passive deterrent.
Oh, so they're trying to bait you to use your Dead Hard.
Mm-hmm.
So they won't swing. Okay, got you.
Yeah, exactly.
I've actually seen that happen to you.
Yeah, you'll see me either like run into the killer and then run away, and then they won't swing. They won't swing at me because they think that I just ran into them to use Dead Hard to bait them into swinging.
Yeah, or like it was on that little town map. It's like my favorite map. I don't know the map names yet.
Which one was it? It's
almost like a Western cowboy one. It's the one where they have the
Dead Dog.
Where you
Dead
can
Dog
hang yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like yesterday when we were playing against that Ghostface, and I just he was just like right up on my butt, and I just kind of ran into him and I spun into him, and he didn't swing at me, and then I ran away, and then I used Dead Hard, and then he swung at me. It's because he was trying to bait it out, and he thought when I turned into him that I used my Dead Hard. So then he thought I had already used it, and then he swung at me, and then I actually used it. Yeah, it's a whole mind game thing.
Yeah, the whole game it reminds me of oddly enough, it reminds me of basketball. Because when I'm playing basketball, I'm trying to get someone to commit to a move where they're committing to their move based off of a move that I'm making. and if I can get them to commit, I can get away. And I've noticed that's how the game is. Like I see you'll when you're in a house or outside of a house and you know there's a mantle coming in front of you, I'll know when you're actually going to mantle or not just based on your position. So I notice that you'll hug the wall when you're actually going to mantle. But I notice you keep a little bit of a distance away from the wall and then you'll fake the mantle and go. And I've seen them bite and swing on the mantle, and then I've seen them not bite and just sort of go right after you.
Yeah. That's exactly right. What you wanna do in a situation is make it as convincing as possible that you're actually going to take that vault. So you'll see me, if I hug the wall and I just get just enough distance to be able to hit a fast vault on that window, then I'll be able to hit that fast vault on that window right before the person comes around the corner and they try to swing at me. But if I want to make them think that I'm going for the window,
Vault.
you have to set it up and make it convincing beforehand. So before I even turn that corner, I start swinging out a little bit more. And then when I get around the corner, I take it really wide and then run towards it. And then that's when it makes it look like, okay, he's preparing to go for this window. And then that's when I try to fake it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works and they swing for the window, but it didn't matter because they were close enough that it didn't matter anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a big part of
Dead by Daylight as a whole, to be honest.
Yeah, it was one of those things when I first started playing, it was like super intimidating because I had my brother explaining all this stuff to me, and he's like, yeah, so there's like mind games and you're doing this and then you're doing that and blah 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 blah, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh, there's so much more to this game too than I thought. You're totally right. Like, yeah, it is intimidating.
Yeah, it especially as like a new player. Like, I mean, there's just so much stuff and so many things that have been implemented and changed since since it came out. Like, you know how when you get unhooked and you have endurance and haste for like 8 seconds, so you move a little faster, and then if he hits you like right off the hook, you tank a hit.
Yeah.
That was only implemented like 3 months ago.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe actually, no, I'm a liar. That was implemented more like 6 months ago. But usually, what it used to be, you unhook someone, you can just boom, get them right back down, hook them again.
The
Doesn't
same
matter.
person.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not like that now. I think that's a little OP for the killer.
It definitely was, and it was really bad because then you could just sit at the hook, and then if anyone came in to save them, you could hit them, and then they wouldn't even be able to do like a suicide play because the other person would still be immediately downable again. So it just made it really terrible.
Yeah, and it's like, imagine getting hooked, first hook, you get saved, boom, second hook, you get pulled off again, boom, third hook, dead, 2 seconds.
Exactly. And it was super frustrating, and it took them, well, that would have been 2022, so it took them 6 years to do anything about it.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
How's the fan base for Dead by Daylight? Do you consider it toxic? Do you think they're good?
It really
unfortunately, depends. It really depends. A lot of people, there's a lot of, unlike TF2, which is another game that I've been pretty heavily into for a long time at this point.
Team Fortress 2?
Yeah. I've been playing that game since I was about 11 years old.
Damn.
Yeah. And I'm 20 now, for everybody out there that's listening that wants context. So that game, everybody, there might be some people in a game that get pissed off and it's like, oh, screw you, blah 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 blah, you suck, WM1 and blah blah blah, and there's obviously those people. There's those people that get tilted, but as a community, as a whole, it is a very welcoming, very wholesome community. I mean, recently, as in like last May, I think it was, the game had stopped receiving updates for a very long time, and the community pooled together and petitioned Valve to like make an update to the game because they care a lot about this game. So a bunch of people got together, content creators, regular guys, and they all started tweeting, making posts, sending in letters to get them to update the game, and they all came together, and it worked. After 6 years of like no contact from the developers, they finally said, "Hey guys, we hear you, we see you, and we're going to start doing something about it. We'll put some stuff together. Oh, we appreciate that you care about this game so much 15 years later to it's just like 16 years at this point. We appreciate that you care so much about this game to actually do this." So the community is like super great, and they got together, and it was a great thing. In Dead by Daylight, though, as much as there's a great community of people, like YouTubers like JRM, Aaron, Skirms, Otsdarva is the biggest one. He is such a sweetheart. he makes so many videos on his own time just to teach people, just to help people. He takes so much time out of his life to just help people with this game, and that is really wholesome. And he gets, he doesn't get any praise for it, but there's also a very large portion that kind of just complain about everything. I am not like I don't have any malice behind me saying that, because I complain about a lot of stuff. I'm an asshole sometimes. I will yell at someone for this, that, or the other thing, right? It's a game that you can easily find yourself getting upset at, and a lot of people, killers, survivors, have a lot of entitlement. So as a whole, the community isn't exactly like one unit, like say Team Fortress is. No one knows what they want. There's killers versus survivors. Survivors just want this, killers just want this. There's no unity. It's a lot of infighting with each other, even on really simple things. It's like, well, there's a really overpowered perk called Eruption, which, Lucas, I'm sure you are familiar with.
Yeah.
It just got nerfed recently, and this tool's a Torment patch. But when survivors were talking about, it's like, this perk is so overpowered and blah 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 blah, you need to nerf it because this, right? Killers, instead of saying, yeah, you know what, you're right, this is a really overpowered perk, and it kind of sucks for everyone involved to get hit by this perk. Well, some of them did say that. Some of them also said, well, I have to use this perk because of you. This is your fault. This is your doing because you use all these other perks and you do this and that. So I can't have fun because of what you use. So now I'm going to put this on so you can't have fun either. And it's just very vindictive, and no one has empathy for the other side,
Yeah.
And it just kind of sucks. And I try my best to do that. I mainly play Survivor. I find playing Survivor just much more fun.
It's not even close to how much more fun it is.
Yeah, but
I think it's the aspect of the fear.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can't play killer with your friends either. You can only play Survivor.
In our many experiences, we have experienced killers that just want to play very unfairly. Like one of my experiences, I don't know how to fight a legion, and this legion fought very well, but for some reason, I was hiding in a locker. I was already on my second stage. I don't know if anybody else got hooked. Maybe one or two other people got hooked. And I was hiding in a locker. She somehow found me, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like, how did she find me? And apparently that's just one of their add-ons. Then she proceeded to hook me and let everybody else get out. and I was absolutely furious.
Oh, that
'Cause
was one
I
of my
j-
favorite nights playing ever, to be honest.
I just don't understand why I got like targeted out by that killer and why she played so toxic, you know.
I mean,
I've been.
I think it was
Yeah.
just maybe it's karma from all those DCs, bro.
Yeah. Now
I
we can't
barely
play
DC.
tonight.
No, I can play. I messaged the group chat.
Oh, word.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
it was yeah, I messaged the group chat a while ago. I didn't want to say anything during the stream, but yeah, I can.
Oh
Got
okay.
you. You just
Uh,
exposed Luke. You
the
want to, so
first.
backtracking a tiny bit, didn't mean to cut
Yeah.
you off there, but I think one of the reasons that me personally, and I feel like other people might feel this way about the game. So when you play any game, any video game, you're usually the main character, or you've created your character, and you have control over the game. You have control over your person and your skill level, your fighting, you're the main protagonist. The story's about you. It's a role-playing game most of the time, unless it's a first-person shooter. Where this game, you almost have that taken from you, and you're not in control. You're the hiding. You're not the predator. You're the prey. And I
Mm,
feel like that switch up is what really draws me and other people to the game. Is I'm being hunted. I have to get a job done to survive. I can't go kill. I can't protect myself. And I feel like that's one reason the game is so good, and the other reason that it's so fun to play Survivor over Killer.
I can
you
agree
know,
with that.
I never really thought of it that way. But yeah, there's a certain it's there's a whole book that was written about it. There's been the most dangerous game, you know, the feeling that you get as a hunter hunting down someone else, and the feeling you get as the hunted, the adrenaline that you get from being stalked, being hunted.
Yeah.
There's a certain.
Not to mention Ghostface and Michael Myers are
Mm,
terrifying, bro.
Oh, Michael
Terrifying.
is there. We played a game last week where one of the maps is like you can see literally across the entire map if you're standing in the right spot. And I watched Michael literally murder you, Luke, and then just spin. I swear to God, he saw me from across the map. He's just standing there. Your body's dead on the ground crawling, and he's just staring at me, not moving, nothing. And it was the
mm,
most, dude. It was like I was like, okay, I gotta get the hell out of here, bro.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
great.
he's terrifying.
Especially if they're using like certain add-ons, like you haven't played against a vanity mirror Myers yet, but I think it's vanity mirror. I have the computer in front of me. Let me look it up to make sure I'm talking about the right thing. No, scratched mirror. I think it's scratched mirror is what I'm talking about.
Is it an ability that only Michael has?
It's one of his add-ons.
Got you.
Yeah, okay. So, scratched mirror is an add-on for Myers, which when you're using the ability to stalk, it reveals the auras of all survivors within 32 meters of your location, but you cannot get past evil within 1. So Myers has 3. He has evil within 1, 2, and 3. Tier 3 is when you're
The one
exposed
shot.
in your one shot, right? But when you're in evil within 1, you don't have a terror radius. There's no music. There's nothing to alert you to the fact that he's coming, which means that he could show up anywhere at any time. And especially because if he tries to stalk you, he sees your auras within 32 meters,
Oh, good lord.
which means, yeah, it is terrifying.
Constant aura?
Only when he's stalking. So he has to get into the mode where he just kind of walks at you and he can't hit you while he's stalking, but he can come out of it at any time and like instantly swing at you.
Got you. That's still OP though.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It's silent, knows where you are.
Oh yeah, he like always. It's like an accurate version of Michael Myers. He just comes out of anywhere, at any time, and just boom smacks you. And it's like
Reminds me of Ghostface, where you literally cannot hear him. You don't know where he is.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. One of the most exhilarating matches I've ever played was I played against a scratched Mirror Myers who had sent us to Midwich, which is a very small, cramped indoor map. It's that jail-looking map.
Oh, it's awful, dude. It is
Yeah,
awful.
he sent us there, and he was using that add-on. So I would be sitting on a generator, and I'd be like whipping my head around. I'd be giving myself whiplash, looking at the entrances because I had no idea where he was, and he knew where we were. So I would look one way, I'd look the other way, and then I'd look back the other way, and there he is coming right around the corner, and I shit myself. And I like jump out of my chair.
That's
It's
awful.
crazy. He is not really strong, but it's legit. It's scary. It's just jump scare, you know? He just comes around the corner at you, and you're like, yep, that's it.
See, you know what I don't get about Ghostface is like online when people are talking about him, making videos about him, he gets a lot of hate. But I think he's a really good killer.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of hate do you see? Like people saying that they hate playing against him, or that he's like too weak or strong, or
He's just okay, so I've been watching like YouTube shorts and I see ones that are like, let's put these killers in tiers, in like
Mhm.
S tier, A tier, and Ghostface is always D and E tier or D and F tier, and it's like
Ghostface is great. I don't know why they would put him in those tiers.
that's what I'm saying. He's OP, dude. Like he's wicked OP with like just his ability to like. I don't know what his main ability's called, but it's like when he kind of like turns like into a ghost almost, like he gets like that black aura.
Mhm.
He's gone. You have no idea. And he peek corners too?
Yep.
Dude, I played as him once and I was like, this peek and corner thing is I feel like they can't even see me when I peek the corner. And if they do, all they see is my fucking mask poking out. Like that's scary. Excuse my language, I don't know if we can swear.
No, it's all good. I have it set to explicit.
Got you.
So yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I mean that is very, very scary. You stock faster too when you're leaning. You stock like 50% faster when you're leaning or something. So like, yeah. But yeah, there's nothing crazier than like same thing with like jump scare Myers, just working on a generator and looking back and forth, and then all of a sudden just whipping your head and just seeing him poking his head out from behind a box, and you just jump.
Yeah, literally.
Yep. And then usually by the time you notice him, he's like right next to you anyways, and then he can just expose you, finish stalking you the rest of the way, and then just one hit down you.
See, I feel like Scream's fast too. You know who's wicked fast? I don't know if it's the nurse, but the girl with the TVs.
Oh,
Uh,
Onryo.
Dude,
yeah.
dumb fast. Dumb fast. It's crazy. It's like she's got quick step or something, dude.
I feel like her power is kind of weak. I don't understand how her power works. I've never faced a good Onryo, and I don't understand how her power works. You know what I'm saying?
Um,
I
yeah,
know she
she's
can
definitely a
teleport
weaker
between
killer.
TVs.
Yeah, she can teleport between TVs, and teleporting between TVs. If you teleport to a TV while there's a survivor within, I think it's maybe 32 meters, they gain a point of condemned, and when they gain 8 points of condemned,
You can
when
mori them, right?
you can mori them. Yeah.
Rough.
The way to get rid of condemned is to there's a I think there's a TV that is marked for you that you go to. You take the tape from it and put it into the other uh, other marked TV. I think you
I
can
think
take it out of any. I
it's
think you can take it out of any TV and put it
yeah.
Yeah,
into
it's
the
any
marked.
TV. It's any
You could
TV.
take it
Yeah,
out on any TV.
yeah. So you take it out of any TV and then go to the marked one, and then that clears your condemned. But if you like let it build up, or it's a really good Onryo, um, they can hit you with that before they even know what you're doing. And then when you get full stacks of condemned, they get killer instinct on you, so they get the heartbeat and they can see your location,
Oh, that's terrible.
so they know to come after you. Yeah.
Off that. Some of the killers have some OP shit.
Is try let me see if I can. Is there any killers in Survivor, like a chapter you would want and maybe you're looking forward to for
That is
all three of us?
That is a very good question. I discussed it a little bit, I think, in my first episode. But so I'll let you guys take the stand first before I say anything.
Nick, do you want to go first, or?
You're gonna have to give me a second to think because I don't know many slashers or from like any movies and
So
stuff. I've
I
really
gotta
only seen like Michael Myers.
I gotta say my top three. My first one I would love is either Xenomorph or the Predator. I
Oh,
would
that would be
love
OP,
them.
dude. Seeing those
I
three
would
dots on your
love
buddy's
them.
chest.
Oh, that would be so terrifying, bro.
Yeah, it would.
So
Just hear that
terrifying.
noise, like
The
whatever
like
noise they make.
the clicking noises. Yeah, he makes
Yeah.
like a really loud clicking noise.
You know,
Oh,
a lot of people said that or speculate that this Tools of Torment chapter was supposed to be a Predator-based chapter because of the claw and then the drone thing and then like the stalking aspect of it. You know, it all
Oh, the drone makes sense. Yeah.
and then the fact that the claw trap or whenever you get like exposed or you're in the ring, it's like a 3 dot. Now it's not like exactly like the Predator 3 dot thing, but you know, it's very similar to Predator in those aspects, especially when it comes to setting up drones and the big claw hook weapon. So that's a lot of people compare this chapter to Predator.
yeah. My
Who's your
second one.
third? Oh, okay, second.
Those count as like either one. I wouldn't care if it was either one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My second has to be it. It was rumored. It never happened, but I would love a FNAF chapter. I would have loved
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely. I agree with you there.
Dude, what if his Mori like it could be Freddy, it could be Springtrap. What if it was like Freddy and his like theme plays during the map? That'd be terrifying. It would be
Oh,
terrifying.
that's his like terror radius chase music here. Blum blum
Yeah.
blum
Nah,
blum
I'm
blum.
so good,
Nah.
bro. I'll never sleep.
And I just think we've never really seen like really blood or gore in FNAF. So if they took that aspect to Dead by Daylight, I think it would sell really well and not to mention be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it would be terrifying.
And they
That's for
could do
sure.
different skins where it's different animatronics. That would
Oh
sell in
yeah,
my
you could.
opinion. They could do that. They could make it all the same person, and if they really want to go into it, make the like it would be expensive, obviously, but you don't have to. But each animatronic, it would be their theme. You know what I'm saying? That would take a lot of work, but if they would do that, dude, I'd pay money for that. I would.
It would
I
be. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, finish.
I would say my third. Hmm. I gotta think because I think my third would be maybe Slenderman. Maybe Slenderman.
Mm, that would be sick. That would be.
I just don't know how he would work because he doesn't really. It would have to do with something where you have to look at him, and I think they should do. He would have to work like Ghostface's perk, but actually looking at him is worse for your character. Oh, I would love to talk about it, but I don't know how much time we have.
I mean, you can go ahead. Let me check how long this has been running for. 53 minutes. Yeah, we're still good. I usually run these for about an hour to an hour and a half.
So if I had to do one for Slenderman, blah blah blah, I'll do Slenderman first. So in my opinion, how Slenderman's ability should work is he can teleport, but he should be able to teleport to the pages. I think he should have pages on different trees. I think he needs a big map. I think he would work really well on big maps. I don't know about small maps, you know, but like big maps where you have to find these pages. I don't know how it would work, but maybe every page you find helps affect his ability. And say, for example, you know how you have to look at Ghostface to counter his ability and get him out of killing you basically instantly. When you look at him, that actually is bad because you know when you look at Slenderman, you die in the game basically. So I don't know how it would work, but maybe he could teleport to you when you look at him. you start a build-up meter, and if you look at him too long, you get exposed and you'll die. I don't know. They could make it really interesting, I think, if they decided to add him, give him interesting perks, and he'd be a terrifying killer, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is actually that's a really good one. I hadn't even thought of it before, honestly. Yeah, I think Slenderman or Springtrap, those would be really really good add-ons to the game. I'm
Do
really not
agree.
good at I'm really not good at like making up powers, but yeah,
I've got two. If you don't have one.
not off the top of my head. So go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out the name on one of them, but I'm kind of also changing my mind now. But I think the biggest one, I kind of just looked it up and I found out why this person's not in the game. But the fact that Jason Voorhees isn't in the game is so astonishing to me.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I know that there's a licensing issue with if you're going through a custody battle for who owns the actual title of Jason Voorhees, but
Mhm.
that deranged man who would he die at like 13 years old? He drowned or something. He's a
Yeah.
nutcase. And then this one's from that the Stranger Things shows. I don't know if that was already a killer in here, but uh, what are they called? The
The Demogorgon?
Demogorgons. Yeah, was that a killer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
They
it still
got
a
they got
killer?
removed. No, it got removed from
Oh,
the shop, unfortunately.
I
dang.
know Vecna. My friend showed me leaked information on Vecna for Dead by Daylight, but I guess it never happened.
Mm. Yeah, I did hear excuse me, a little bit about that.
Which would have been interesting because he made Stranger Things really good, and I really like how they worked him. And he would be a brutal killer because how he killed people in the show was amazing. And that Mori was, if he had that Mori in the game, oh, it would be so bad to watch. If I had some, sorry if I'm going off topic, but if I had some critic reviews, I think they need to fix the Moris, make them actually look like they're killing the people, because some of them are just plain terrible, and some of the things that these killers do, these survivors' bodies should not be intact, you know? Maybe they shouldn't, but in my opinion, I would like to see a bit more gore in the Moris. And like, say for example, the executioner or pyramid head's secret kill, that
Mhm.
blade definitely weighs a ton. You would be chopped in half, and I just feel disappointed that you're not, you know. I go through the process of trying to get people to walk over the chains and whatever, and I get rewarded with just such a boring Mori, in my opinion. And I think they really need to work on the Moris of this game because I think what's it called, the Skull Merchant's Mori, is like, what's his name,
Freddy.
Freddy Krueger. Um, Going forward, I think they should make it make the Moris better because she does not have a good Mori. The Knight's Mori was great. I like how he got everybody to do something to you, but I think they need to work a bit better on the Moris, make them more gory, you know.
You should look into the DVD mobile Moris, because Dead by Daylight Mobile has a lot of different, they have customizable Moris in the mobile game. And
Really,
yeah, and they have a lot more skins and they're really cool for survivors and killers. And then they have customizable Moris. There's a Trapper Mori that I saw recently. Oh man, that thing was crazy, and it was gory as hell. Like the dude had like chopped the dude's leg off and like took the bear trap and like let it close on his head or something
holy sh!
crazy.
That sounds
Ye-
sick.
Yeah, I know, but it's only on the mobile version, so I think you might
That's
enjoy looking
that's
into some of them.
that's weird. They would do that for
I
the
can't even
mobile,
get the
not
mobile
console.
version. It says I have to pre-order it.
Dead by Daylight Mobile,
Yeah, it says coming soon. And then when I
really?
go to download it, it says you'll be notified when this app becomes available. It will automatically download.
Oh, I gotta
Maybe
look
it's
this
not
up
on
now.
the Apple Store.
Nah. Maybe it's an Android thing right now.
Ah, yeah, it does say coming soon, expected March 16th, 2023. I swear I had it. I think I had it on my other phone, so maybe it was on Android only.
That's weird.
Oh, that's good to.
I think they
I'm
should
gonna look that up.
put those on console. I don't know why we don't have those yet.
I think it's really weird because I don't understand how the same game just on two different platforms can have different licensing. But Behavior Interactive owns the Steam, Epic Games, Stadia, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X, all the consoles. Behavior owns those. Um, but Dead by Daylight Mobile is owned by a Chinese company called NetEase. They have the rights to it, so they can do whatever they want with it because it's
I
technically a
gotcha.
different company that owns them.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. It just does suck for us. Main game. What do you call it? Main game players.
Another thing I think they should work on. Well, not what they should work on. It's technically not their fault. I just think it kind of sucks for other games that try to do what Dead by Daylight has done, and they just fail terribly. I can list a few examples like Evil Dead, paid full price for that game,
Mm-hmm.
played it for a couple of days. I dropped it. I mean, now it's updated, but when it first came out, it was buggy as hell. It wasn't that good. It wasn't entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun at first, but I can't tell you the amount of game breaking glitches for a $60 game. It was crazy. And I just find it crazy that no company can pull off what Dead by Daylight has done. Maybe just people are so used to Dead by Daylight, just it's more fun. But like I don't like Dead by Daylight because like you can't really fight the killers. It's kind of why I didn't really. I kind of like fighting games, so it's not really my forte. I didn't really enjoy playing it with you guys, and I'm glad I'm into it more. But like it's the same reason why I didn't like Friday the 13th. But like even when I had it, I'm like, damn, this is so boring, and I don't know why. I just enjoyed Dead by Daylight so much more, you know? It's
Yeah,
it's
I get it.
crazy. I just don't understand how they did it so well. Nobody else can do it, you know?
Yeah, many games
It's
have tried
unique.
and failed. Yeah. An argument that I hear from a lot of people, and I think I tend to agree, because it's not like the gameplay is ultra refined or anything, but the fact that someone said this, it's the Super Smash Bros. Of horror. You have Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Sadako Yamamura, Jesus Christ, like Leatherface. Um, I can't think of it. Demogorgon at some point. You have like all these horror icons. Pinhead. You have all these horror icons that you can play as and against. You know, you have a lot of survivors. You have Ash Williams. You can play as Ash Williams. You can play as Leon Kennedy, Rebecca. You know, you can play as your favorite Resident Evil characters. You can play as Laurie Strode from the Halloween movies. You can play as Quentin from the new not the Friday Nightmare on Elm Street movies. There's so many there's so many survivors and killers from recognizable franchises that you can play as, and that alone has some draw to it. You know, sometimes, and I love this. We'll get into a game where every single person is playing a Resident Evil character, and we'll go up against like a Nemesis or a Wesker or something, and it's like super funny because everyone's playing a Resident Evil character in the game, and it's like, oh look, we're playing Resident Evil and Dead by Daylight. I'm Leon, she's Ada, she's Rebecca, and he's Chris, and we're all fighting against Wesker, and it's like it's just really fun, just that alone, because it's like it feels like a whole different game at that point because you're all queuing up as characters of this one game, and you're playing against the killer of the same game, you know, or
Yeah.
There's a bunch of
then
there's a
yeah,
bunch of Resident Evil characters in here.
Yeah.
yeah.
Holy crap!
You have Leon, Ada, Rebecca, Jill, Sheva, Chris, Carlos, Claire. Who am I missing? Am I missing anyone?
I don't think so. Besides the Wesker and
Of course.
oh,
Yeah,
Hunk,
Wesker and
Hunk,
Nemesis. Oh yeah, Hunk
which
too.
is weird, even though he's a good guy, right?
Well, technically, I mean, he works for Umbrella, so I mean, he's not that good of a guy, but he's also just a soldier. But yeah, he's more of a good guy than he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, and you have Birkin now too. You have William Birkin as the Blight skin.
Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, you have like nearly the entire cast of Resident Evil in Dead by Daylight. But yeah, I think that is one of the reasons why it is so popular. You know, you can
I wonder what chapter they
play
would
as
get
these guys.
next. Like what game?
That is a good question. Hmm. I don't know how likely it would be, but I feel like there is a lot of interest in a xenomorph. You know?
Yeah, I would love that.
So I feel like that's definitely one. The Trapper is supposed to be like Jason Voorhees, so I don't know if they would ever add in Jason officially. Because if you notice, there's Hillbilly and there's Leatherface, and both of their abilities are super similar. That's because the Hillbilly was added as an homage to Leatherface before they could actually pay to get the rights. Yeah, exactly. So then you have two killers in the game who are very similar to each other because one was designed to be a ripoff of the other. The same way that Trapper is an homage to Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
He's even got a machete and everything, you know?
Jason is not as cool as Michael. Just putting it out there.
Yeah,
See,
I think
if
he
they
has
if they put Michael in, Jason, I wonder what his power would be, and I feel like it would kill Friday the 13th's game, even though it has really nothing else going for it, you know? But what would his power be, you know? And how would he work?
That's always been an issue for me.
Because technically, right, Jason is literally just I mean, so is Michael, so I guess I can't say it, but like some cool skins would be if they got the licensing, like his different skins from the movie. That would be sick in my opinion. I definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, I know it's difficult to it's difficult to get like skins for licenses because they have to get like approval first. So like that's why Sadako only has like one skin besides her default because they need to get approval from the license holder to add them in.
Got you. I see.
So Myers only has one skin. Sadako only has one skin. Pyramid Head only has like 2 or 3, and they're all dog. They're not good. Like, Wesker has a few cool ones, but he's only got like 2. Same thing with the survivors.
Yeah, and I really wish they got the actual voice actor for him. But
I think
the guy who did it did a good job.
He did. He could have fooled me actually. If you said, "Yeah, this is the original voice actor," I'd be like, "Oh, okay."
You know what I'm glad, or what company I'm glad hasn't touched or tried to touch Dead by Daylight?
EA.
Marvel.
Oh. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because I feel like the only thing you wouldn't be able to do is survivors, but I feel like they could try to weasel their way in for killers, and I'm just so happy that there's been no connection to Marvel. I feel like Marvel touches everything nowadays.
Oh, 100%. I don't even unless Marvel approached them with like a ridiculous sum of money, I don't think Behavior would go for it because they've said themselves they would like to keep their licenses at the very least horror adjacent.
Yeah,
like
and you would lose that.
yeah, what like you got friggin' fighting the Joker,
Thanos.
Green Goblin, Thanos. Yeah,
Facts.
it's like okay, cool.
You know
Who
what
is
they
the
should?
creator?
Hmm?
Who's the creator of the game?
Behavior Interactive. Behavior.
Do they have any other games that like you think I would know about?
They do more than Dead by Daylight. Yeah, they have one called, I think, Meet Your Match that just came out. They have a few other ones out as well, but they're absolutely nothing like Dead by Daylight. I don't remember the names of them.
Oh yeah, I see that. Meet Your Maker, Death Garden. Oh, Fallout Shelter. Wow.
Oh, they did do Fallout Shelter. Okay.
They have some really old games. Jersey Devil for the PlayStation. SpongeBob Hero Pants. Wow. Wow.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know that.
There's a ton. Assassin's Creed Rebellion. Wow. A bunch of Game Boy games. I did not know this. Silent Hill too. Wow. I got off topic. My fault.
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking at them now. They did a lot more than I thought.
Hooked on You at A Day by Deadlight. What's that?
Oh, yeah. Oh god.
A dating sim? Hooked
Yeah.
on You, a Dead by Daylight dating sim. You're kidding me.
It is real. It
It's
is real.
real.
And it's made by Behavior.
Yep.
Wow.
Look it up. They made the killers really hot. And
Gotta
that.
find a waifu, bro.
For real, bro. Look at Spirit. I'm telling you.
Isn't Spirit a kid?
Oh.
Yo.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Listen, they aged her up for the thing.
I know.
I'm looking right now. They definitely did.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm not looking right now.
Yeah, no. Anyway, no. Moving on. No. Yeah, you're right, because she was like 16 or 17 or something when she got killed, right?
Something like that. I don't actually know. I just thought people said she was a kid, so she was young, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't actually know.
I'm trying to look it up right now. I actually can't. Let me see. Does it say?
You know, one thing that annoyed me about Dead by Daylight is the fact that they are adding killers like from Resident Evil and stuff that have guns, but they don't actually have guns. And it just slightly annoys me because it's like, man, Bill has been fighting herds of zombies and you're telling me he forgot his AK at home? Like, come on. Come on, man. Bill's just that kind of guy. He would have a gun on him always. Bill's just like an old man who doesn't give a fuck, who's in a zombie apocalypse. He would always hold a gun on him.
I know. It's even worse when you see that they have like empty leg holsters and everything.
I know. It just pisses me off.
It's like the holster's there, but not the gun.
The closest thing we got was like Blast Mine or the flashbang that Leon and Jill have, but give me a way to hurt the survivor, hurt the killer.
You would probably like the game. Oh my god, VHS. In that game, to win, you actually kill the killer. You like straight fight back against them. PC only.
Oh, well, guess I can't play it.
Yeah, I mean the game only has like 300 active players, so.
Oh damn.
Rest in peace to that game.
Yeah, that's another one of those ones that it didn't necessarily try to take Dead by Daylight's throne, just tried to coexist with it, but Dead by Daylight still ate and bit its head off anyways.
Something that would be interesting, and going back to what Nick said, is I think they should involve other things than just doing gens, because I feel like that just gets stale, and the only way to really have fun is honestly fuck with the killer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, like, getting, like, that adrenaline rush, like, oh shit, like, while you're, like, juking the killer, I'm like, alright, keep juking the killer. Like, dude, you ran in that killer for 5 minutes, and I just did the gens, and we both got out. That was crazy. It was absolutely nuts, dude. And that shit is so fun, you know? But I would love to see if they could somehow implement something else besides generators. Obviously, it would take as much time as generators, but maybe it's just, that's just what you do. You grab a gen, try to survive while, the killer finds you, but I would love to see if they could do a different game mode, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know what would be cool?
Well,
So 5 gens. Imagine if all 4 gens, all 4 regular gens, were normal, 90 seconds, but the 5th gen was missing something, and you had to find this object to fix. You had to find this object that you needed to fix the gen. So, but the last gen was like 50 seconds, but the object wasn't as obtainable. So it's not like, oh, it's just gonna be in a chest located somewhere. It was
What?
like
Kind of
some sort of
genius.
mental game to it, and maybe each killer had their own like creative way to hide this object, almost like a hide and seek or something. Like in the beginning of the match, the killer has 30 seconds to put this item somewhere, or each one of the first 4 gens that you complete drop an item, and all 4 items have to be brought to the 5th gen. Now, say you do 2 gens, so you have 2 of the items, and then 2 other players do, and one of them dies. Now you have to go find that item at the hook. You know what I mean? Something to bring a level of intensity and, like, I don't know, like a new aspect to the game, a refreshing part. I don't know, it's just an idea, but like I feel like if you get down to 2 players, it might be hard to get 4 objects for that final gen. But something.
yeah. I think it's just so funny that you mentioned that because and you being so new to the game because they're you're pretty much echoing the exact same sentiment that some of these people that have been playing the game since 2016 have been saying. There's 2 podcasts that I listen to: the I'm All Ears podcast and the Spine Chill podcast. And on one of them, they were all discussing. I think it was the Spine Chill podcast I was listening to, but they were all discussing the possibility of like doing exactly what you said, like adding a secondary objective and making it so that you don't just hop onto a generator and you don't just click the button, hold on to it for 90 seconds and periodically press another button to complete the skill check, and you
Hmm.
instead had like like in the Friday the 13th game, um a system where you needed to bring supplies to the generators. Like in the Friday the 13th game, if you wanted to get into the car and leave, you had to find a battery, you had to find gas, and you needed to find the keys. And they were scattered around all different parts of the map. You couldn't just find the car, get in it, and go. You had to get the gas, get the battery, get the keys, or you need to do this or that. I think I would welcome that as a secondary game mode as long as it didn't replace the main one.
Oh, for sure, for
Um,
sure. You cannot change that first one.
yeah. But as like a secondary game mode where it's more of like a parts gathering thing rather than just like a sitting there for
Parts
90
gathering,
seconds
no
thing.
perks.
Yeah, that would be that'd
That's
be interesting. I don't know how you would do it, but
Oh,
it's definitely
well,
something.
me being muted doesn't help me talk about what I was just talking about.
Oh no.
Um, I wasn't muted long, I think. Anyway, um, it just doesn't make sense to me, like how all these gens they're just broken and they don't need anything else. They just can fix some wires and eventually just get them up. I would just like to see something else,
Yeah, they just pull on some stuff and
But
spark for like
if
2
we're gonna
minutes.
make it harder or give the survivor different objectives, I think they need to find a way to make it so it's harder for killers. Because in all fairness, it wouldn't be fair that the survivors have to find new ways in order to beat the game. Meanwhile, the killer just gets to do the same thing, where it's kill all the survivors and make sure they don't win.
That's
Mhm.
true. We're over here complaining about aspects for us, but we haven't even thought about anything killers should get.
Yeah, I play killer, so I wouldn't mind some things that got like fixed, in order so that's fair to everybody, not just because it would be
Yeah, I
extremely
agree.
unfair to survivors if killers just didn't have to do anything else. And meanwhile, survivors have to be put against new things they've never faced before, and killers don't suffer any penalty whatsoever.
True. You know, it'd be a cool perk to add for survivors. I just thought
What?
of this myself. So, if you're in deep wound and you're working on a generator, you can have an active button like A or something to booby trap your generator, but your generator for 90 seconds is unable to be completed. So, if you're in deep wound and you're on the generator and you see the killer coming, you can press A to booby trap the generator. The generator seems fine to the killer, but if they come up to you and you run away and then they try to sabotage the generator, they get, I don't know, like an electric shock that stops them for 5 seconds or slows their movement speed for 8 seconds. But now
So
that generator is unable to be used for 90 seconds.
I can agree to that, but unfortunately, they already have a booby trap perk. But it would be cool if you could combine them both. Dude, imagine getting comboed with a flash and you're getting
Mm.
electrocuted slash stunned. Oh, dude, that'd be such an annoying combo, That would be cool. I just don't see them doing it because it it would just maybe be a bit overpowered, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nick, you should
But it
look up
would
the
be
perk
interesting.
blast mine from Jill. It is almost exactly what you described.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Hmm. I kind
it's
of
a
came up
perk
with it
where
myself.
if you work on a generator for X amount of time, you can booby trap the generator. You can continue working on it, but you can booby trap the generator or any generator as long as you gain it. And then when the killer comes over to kick it, it explodes on them and it blinds and stuns them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking OP, dude. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you have to complete like half of a generator and then you can put a blast mine on it. And then if the killer comes over and kicks it, then then it explodes in their face and they get stunned.
Oh, that's amazing. I had no idea.
Yeah. There's like a few hundred perks in the game, so it's kind of tough to come up with something original.
True, you're right. That's
Yeah, there's
facts.
like
I'm over here trying to make stuff, and you're like, "Oh, it's already here, bud."
already
I'm like, "Shit,
exists.
I'm a genius."
What's
Well, I got news for you.
what are some perks, all three of us, maybe if we know some, maybe that could get nerfed, buffed, things that need to be worked on, stuff like that? Is there anything you guys might think that should get fixed?
You know the mantle one where you get a speed boost when you jump over it?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think it's fair that you get no speed boost when you're in deep wound. Maybe cut the speed boost in half to 2 seconds, but to have no speed boost while you're in deep wound, it's I don't know. I think it's a good perk, but I think it would be just a tad bit better if you could have 2 seconds of boost rather than the four when you're in deep wound. You have half health, so you get half boost.
That makes sense.
So deep wound isn't actually what affects it, it's your exhausted status effect.
Oh, maybe if you're
So
exhausted, you only get 2 seconds boost instead of 4 seconds boost.
it's normally a 3 second boost, but yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I know what you're saying, but um I think it would be a little too powerful, especially with all the other exhaustion perks like Sprint Burst, Dead Hard, Smash Hit, if they still worked but just to less of an effect when you were exhausted, they're still working even at like half effect. So that's still kind of crazy. I don't know how Dead Hard would work because like the whole thing is like you're tanking a hit. It's not like you get a speed boost for a certain amount of time. So I don't even know, but yeah. There used to be something in the game which is a little bit of like a compromise of what you're talking about. Exhaustion doesn't go down. Like your exhaustion doesn't come back if you're running at all, but
Yeah.
it used to come back at half speed if you were running. So if it normally takes 40 seconds to become unexhausted, if you were running, it would take 80? So it would take twice as long, but it would still come back if you're running. That kind of sounds like a bit of a compromise of what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're right.
But if they were to bring that back, I don't know. I think that'd be a bit of a horror show. Because if you're really good and you can run a killer for that long, and like it's 80 seconds later and you're like using sprint burst, and then all of a sudden they're about to catch up to you, and then your exhaustion comes right back, and then you just zip right away from them again. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I like how this was supposed to be talking about the new chapter, but literally nothing happened with the new chapter, so we just ended up talking about literally anything else.
Facts.
It's
It was all
just
Dead by related.
Yeah, I just find it like we really didn't get experience with this new killer, because I just think it's not a great chapter, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I think
like
the
the new
survivors
survivor.
are great. Yeah, the survivors are a total plus. I think Skull Merchant's perks are good. I think her perk kit is decent, like really good. I don't remember what her perks were, so maybe I'm just saying it just to say it, but I think, this game is supposed to be horror based. You're not supposed to be into the killer, just saying, But I mean, this chapter was good. I hope to see more to come, and I really hope the next chapter is better because it's kind of seems they just made a different version of the night, but not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. The next chapter is going to be the anniversary chapter. They'll be celebrating 7 years of the game
Damn.
in a few months during the summer. So everyone's kind of hoping that since the last two chapters really sucked, see, you get one good chapter and then forget it. Like Wesker is amazing, and
Yeah,
then
Wesker is amazing.
and then you get the knight who looked really promising in the PTV, but then after like 3 days of messing around with him, it's like, yeah, I don't know. And then you get the skull merchant, so everybody's kind of banking on like, oh well, hopefully we'll get a really good license for the anniversary event or a new original chapter. But we've had two original chapters, the knight and the skull merchant. So I'd be willing to bet that the next one is probably a license, because usually they only do 2 or 3 chapters of originals before getting a license. Like last year, this last year there was one license. So in 2022, it started with Sadako, and then the Dredge, then the Knight. So Sadako, Dredge, Knight. Who else? I gotta look this up. I'm missing one. I can't remember though. But yeah, so that was like a ratio of like 1 to 3, for like licenses to originals. Let's see here. DBD year 6 chapters. My computer's so slow. This sucks, dude. Oh my god.
All right, while you're looking that up, is there a survivor that's like a samurai?
Oni.
That's a killer.
I mean, a killer. Sorry.
Oh,
I meant to say killer. Like, he has a katana that kills you, and, like, I don't really know. I'm asking.
Yeah, that is the Oni, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah, okay, so for 2022, we got Forged in Fog. Okay, yes. How did I forget? I just talked about him. Okay, so at the beginning of the year of 2022, the first chapter of the year was Sadako. Then the next chapter was The Dredge. Then you got Project W for Wesker, and then you got Forged in Fog. So last year we got 2 licenses and 2 originals. Let's check 2021. In 2021, you also get 2 licenses and 2 originals. So they probably do, which means either the next killer or the next chapter that comes out for the anniversary event will be a what do you call it? A license, or the one after that will be. But what it looks like right here is that it's most likely that this next chapter is going to be a license, because usually they do. Usually they don't do 2 licenses back to back. Though there was 5. Well, there was one. There's 4 full chapters and then a paragraph in 2021. And then in 2020, there was. In 2020, there's only 1 license. So it's hard to tell, but if I was going to take a guess, I'd say the next chapter will most likely be a licensed. And
Who
it'll
do you think
probably
they
be a
should
big
do?
license.
Who
I
could
have
they even
no
license anymore?
I have no clue. There used to be a guy out there, DVD Leaks, who got shut down. He used to be a fairly reliable source of information, but then they found the leaker and they shut him down. So now we
That's
don't have
wow.
any inside information.
Just a man trying to work out here for the greater good.
People have been requesting a Five Nights at Freddy's chapter for a long time. I feel like if they were going to do an anniversary event, they would probably maybe they would finally give in and give people a Five Nights chapter.
Dude, I won't be able to play. I won't. Five Nights at Freddy 4 scared me so bad I was dreaming about it.
Oh my god.
Dude, I was just sitting there streaming. He scares me. I start my second game. Katie comes up behind me, puts the fear of God in me, turn my face back to the TV. Boom, animatronic in my fucking mouth. Oh, dude, it's terrifying.
People have also really wanted the Stranger Things chapter to come back. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
which sucks. I don't know why they don't want to do one.
I think they pulled the license from the game because the Stranger Things creators wanted to make their own things, and they didn't want Dead by Daylight to be like stealing the spotlight. But
well, it's probably
yeah.
going to anyway because they're not making one.
Oh no, I know. It just sucks,
You know what would be an insane license? This is a sneaky one. I can't think of the name, but it's the movie with Jim from The Office, and everyone has to be quiet.
Oh yeah, A Quiet Place.
Dude, you have the wife, the
that'd
husband.
be terrifying.
That would be fucking terrifying, dude. And if you made a noise, like if you opened a chest or something, or when you it would hear you, and then maybe its ability would be that it like hones in on just you because you made a noise, and say you're on second hook, so somebody else has to go and fail a gen to get it to come after. Oh, dude, that would be freaking crazy.
Oh my god, you're right. It could be such a simple power where if you activate it, you like tune into your hearing, and it'll be like The Last of Us, and then you can hear all the noises that people are making in the map.
What I think they should do, which is interesting, I think it wouldn't really work because I believe it's blind and it can only hear things. That's how it only kills things through echolocation. So I don't know how that would work, because you would have to play a killer where you can't see anything and you can only rely on sound. So they would have to find a way to make it work. Not only you would hear footsteps. So if people are sprinting, you would hear them. So you would need to walk or crouch all game, which would take forever. It would be extremely slow. Not to mention doing gens would be impossible, because the killer's always going to know where you are. It would be cool. I don't mean to shut it down. I would love that. That's such a great movie, and I would love that. I just don't see personally how it would work.
I think they could very easily just, retcon it in that. I know that technically in the movie they only hear, but I think for purposes of a video game, you could probably just make them, sighted creatures.
Actually, I don't know why I just said that, because we play characters with masks. Fucking Pyramid Head doesn't have any eyes whatsoever. Neither does what's it called?
Yeah, Pyramid Head doesn't. Demogorgon.
Really, yeah. So
the nurse has a bag over her
head. You ever
head.
play against the Demogorgon?
Yeah, we
A few
played
times.
against him once. It's terrifying, honestly, but he's an interesting killer. I missed their map. Their map was terrifying.
If I still had the Nightmare Edition, I would hop in and do a custom game with you guys with playing as the Demogorgon.
We should do a custom game right now while we play.
Oh, we talk.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I'm about to. Speak. No, it would just be silent for 25 minutes. No, I'm about to. I want to start wrapping it up because I'm super tired and I need a shower and go to bed.
Stinky boy, got a shower.
Mm-hmm. This podcast has been going on 2 hours now. Actually,
is it really?
What a great podcast, though. Honestly,
it's been an hour. It's been an hour and actually about an hour and a half right now. So
I look forward to do this again. Honestly,
yeah. Maybe I can do it when it's not so early in the morning and disturbing my dad.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But yeah. So let's I guess we'll do our final thoughts, wrap up a little bit, and then call it a day.
Sure. Final thoughts. Who wants to go first? Because I don't know what to say.
I love Dead by Daylight.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Yeah.
Final thoughts. Sean, go first. I mean second. Because
What? Well, okay. Yeah. Well, just I hope for the for the next chapter that they make, it'll be a little bit less of a disappointment. I really want to be able to look forward to the new things coming out for the game, but the last two that have came out, I've really only been playing the game long enough to be here for really 3 chapter releases, because I started playing just a week or so before Wesker came out. So I've only been playing the game for 3 chapters, and 2 of those 3 chapters have been ass. And I'd like to be able to get excited for a good chapter again. So I just, I have my fingers crossed for the anniversary event that something big comes in, whether it's an original or it's a license. I wouldn't care either way. I think I honestly prefer originals because I think they can be a little bit more, original with their own killer designs. I mean, the artist, the Blight, Hillbilly, all of these character designs for their original survivors killers have been terrific, with the exception maybe of Skull Merchant. They just made her a hot Brazilian woman, which, I mean, I'm not complaining that much, but anyway, yeah, I just hope we get something a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more, I don't know. I can't find the word that I'm looking for, but substantial. I hope we get something a little bit more substantial for the for this next chapter to come up. And I hate to be a week into a chapter and already be like, I'm waiting for the next one. But yeah, that's just kind of how it feels. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I just got my fingers crossed for the next one, and I hope there's something that I can actually get excited about.
I can agree. This killer doesn't seem very interesting. I think honestly, the survivors got the best end of this chapter, and I hope that whoever they do next is really really good, worth the hype. Whoever it is, I'm looking forward to it. And if I can ever meet a skull merchant in real life without the killer, behavior, that'd be great. Hit me up, please.
I'll put your Instagram in the description.
Can you put my YouTube in it too? Not that this is important.
Yeah, just send me the links to your socials and everything. I can do the same thing for you too, Nick. Just send me the links to your socials, and I'll make sure to put it in the description of the episode on Spotify and Anchor.
Bet.
I don't have any social medias. I appreciate it though.
I'll leak Nick's social medias against his will.
Yeah, so here's his Snapchat. Here's his phone number. But yeah, for sure. All right. Was that about it? Everyone said anything they wanted to say?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Well, all right. So, thanks everybody for tuning in to the I think the longest episode at this point of the Starstruck podcast. It was originally supposed to be about the Tools of Torment chapter, but as we mentioned earlier, there wasn't really much to talk about with it. So, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Nick, for joining me. It was nice to get you guys in on it.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah,
of course.
You, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm definitely happy to do this again if you guys ever want to. Maybe my brother, Mr. Nancy Wheelchair, can join us next time. But yeah. We'll do it again.
Word. Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.